Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Season 2 of Midday with Trey. I'm your host, Trey. Let's get right into the show. Let's get right into it. Today's guest is a professor of practice in the Intel department who has over 40 years in the Intel field. Let's give it up for Mark Chandler. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Trey. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk with you.
So can you first just tell audiences a little bit about yourself, who you are, maybe a little background about yourself?
Well, originally I'm from Alabama, so born and raised there. I joined the Marien Corps a long time ago, before you were around, obviously, and most of our students. And so I spent 21 years in the Marien Corps serving all around the world, and I was an intelligence officer.
Okay.
When I retired out of the Marine Corps, I went into the civilian side of Department of Defense Intelligence and spent another 15, 16 years doing that work.
Wow.
So it's been a great, rewarding career, and I've seen the world.
Wow. Okay, so how did you first get into Intel, or when did you know you wanted to get into that field?
I kind of started out just with dumb luck, if you will. My undergraduate is in political science.
Okay.
So I've always had an interest in what's taking place around our government, around the world. And as I started to grow, I started to realize, hey, there's something going on that's happening out there in the world that I need to help understand.
Right.
And so I think I just kind of evolved into that.
Okay, that's cool. And what sort of jobs have you worked over the course of your career? You have 4 years experience, which is, a long time. And so you've obviously worked, different types of jobs. And I'm just interested, what kind of jobs have you worked? Well,
I'll divide those into two categories.
Okay.
One would be my military jobs. And so obviously I had a couple of combat tours. One, an operation called Desert Shield, Desert Storm, back in 1990, 91. And then the second being in 2003 on the invasion of Iraq. Okay. So that's the extreme of Intel support in a combat environment.
Right.
And then the rest, I would say, when I started working in the civilian world, then I got jobs in the Pentagon, jobs at Defense Intelligence Agency for the United States Air Force, working on the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest military joint organization that we have, and then also working in the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence. So working at that level, a lot of exposure to senior level decisions. And my last job was with the U.S. Air Force as their senior intelligence analyst.
Oh, wow. Okay. And what are some misconceptions that people may have about the field of Intel?
That we know everything.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that is a big thing. One, that everything is all secret, and two, that we can truly find the answers to everything. And that's what I tell our students. I said, this is a challenging business that we're in. And the hardest thing is we strive to know all the information. But we have people out there in the world who are trying to prevent us from knowing that.
Right.
And so as we go through that, the part of the human nature that wants you to know it all is challenged by the other part of human nature that says you can't have it all.
Right.
And so when we look at that, we can never truly know until something is history that we got it right.
That's true.
And that's frustrating. So that's a challenge thing, and I think we, as intelligence practitioners, and as I said, it's what I tell the students, this is what you're going to face. Yeah. This is a struggle we'll face all the time.
So it sounds like there's a lot of problem solving involved in the field like Intel. Maybe that. Okay, so I'll take a second. So what you're teaching now at Coastal, were you learning the same? Are you teaching the same things that you learned when you were in school, or is it has it shifted to maybe a different, more technologically based Intel, or is it kind of similar to what you taught, what you teach now at Coastal?
Well, I'll tell you, if you look at the time frame from when I started serving to now, after I retired, and what we teach here at Coastal, the basic knowledge of intelligence and the processes of doing intelligence are the same. The tools are evolving and have evolved from that. When I started out, we didn't have computers. Now you have more computing power at your fingertips in your cell phone than we had, 5 to 6 years after I started in the intelligence business, and that's at your hand. I will tell you that what the students, and I am so pleased to be here at CCU and so pleased to be part of this department, because we are producing students through our program that are better prepared than what I believe, and I've been there, what the military schools are putting out.
Oh, wow.
And those students that leave our program are ready to step in and be good analysts and good practitioners at the highest levels.
Yeah.
And that is something that I wish I had when I was that senior executive or senior officer out there.
Okay, oh, that's interesting. So let's get into some more specific circumstances. So as we know, recently there's the whole Chinese spy balloon that was going around, and I know you've talked about it on countless news networks. But I just want to know, do you think it should be something that students or the public should be worried about? Because we've heard about these things that I guess they're technically called UFOs, even if they're not alien based, that have been shot down. Even the past couple of days, it seems like there's been maybe an uprising of things like that. Do you think this is something that we in the United States should be worried about, or do you think it's just a coincidence that all these?
Well, Trey, and I'm glad you asked that question. I really am, because that gives me an opportunity to talk about words. And this is something we talk about in class.
Okay.
Words matter.
Right.
Okay. And so you asked, should we be worried about it? And I would say no, just based on the pure definition of what the word worry means.
Okay.
I would say we should be concerned about it. Because one, as a nation, as an intelligence community, we should be concerned about another country violating our sovereign airspace.
Right.
And so we should understand the broader strategic competition that the United States has with China. So be concerned that China would be this assertive to take these actions. Secondly, we should be concerned, and I think it's a great opportunity in many of our departments to look at our national security apparatus.
Right.
How did we respond? How will we respond going forward, knowing we're in that strategic competition? And so, yeah, concerned is where I would go with that at this time. And I'm trying to make this a learning experience for our students here.
Right. Okay. That's cool. Thank you for acknowledging that. That's I didn't even think about that. There's a difference between worry and concern. That's a great point. Yeah. What is your favorite part of your job now at CCU?
Oh, I think it's interaction with the students.
Okay.
I tell you what, my career, I'm done. I've done a lot of great things, had a lot of great opportunities, failures, successes. I've worked through that. If I can prepare the students, if I can pay that forward for them to have a successful opportunity, whether it be in intelligence, in life, whatever it may be, that's what I'm here for. I get charged from being able to help out right now.
Okay, and final question, what advice would you have for maybe potential Intel students, maybe in high school, or maybe even like they're graduates from high school, but they may be thinking about going to Intel field? What advice would you have for them to just get their foot in the door?
The advice I would have is, be interested in society. Be interested in what takes place in your government. Be interested in looking beyond yourself. So my advice to you would be, read the news.
Yeah.
And not the news that pops up on your phone or TikTok. Oh, stay away from TikTok. But but look at what's out there. What's being said in society. What's being said in the world, and have that awareness. I think with that curiosity, that natural curiosity, and a sense of selflessness, I think you can go far out there, whether you choose Intel or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to have you come into this career field, this area, but I think that makes us better citizens,
right.
Allowing to go forth and better partners with all of our other people in society.
Okay, well, that concludes the interview portion, but we do have a segment on the show. It's called Rapid Response. I'm just going to ask you 3 different questions. They're very lighthearted. 3 different questions, and you have to, and I have a timer.
Oh.
And don't have the timer, but you have a certain amount of time to answer the question. And so I'll ask 3 questions. You have to give 3 answers per category, basically. It's just a short version of the game categories.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Okay, now it's time for, where's the camera? Where's the camera? It's right here? Right here? Okay, we're good. Now it's time for rapid response. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Name 3 countries.
China, Russia,
Okay.
and Iran.
Name 3 languages.
Farsi, Russian, and Han Chinese.
Okay. Name 3 U.S. government buildings.
The Treasury Building, the Pentagon, and the White House.
Perfect. Okay. So we usually you passed the test. So we usually do that in 20 seconds, but it seemed like you did it around 10. So
wow.
you are at the top of the leaderboards right now. But it looks like you have a hat of the week for us today, and if you would just explain like what hat you brought and what is, I guess, the significance of it.
Trey, I will, but now I've got to dime you out a little bit.
Okay.
So I brought a lot of hats here. And you said, well, you got to play fair, only one hat. So my philosophy is he who dies with the most hats wins.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is just show you my recent
Yes,
you know,
the
gathering
recent
of
hat.
hats. And this is a hat that I wore in Spain and Portugal when we took a trip there.
Okay.
All right, so it's a little bit different for me. Normally, I'm a baseball hat kind of guy.
Right.
But you know, I thought I would go out there and enjoy the environment out
It
there
looks
in
great.
Spain
It
and
looks great.
Portugal.
Have you seen the old Cartoon Network animation? It's called Spy versus Spy, and they're cartoons, and they have one's black, one was like, is there just like the color, not the skin color or anything. Like one's black and one's white, and then like they duel. Have you seen that?
I might have seen that once or twice.
It's
out there.
older. But they have the same hats on there. That's what it reminded me of. But
There you go.
thank you so much for coming on the show. I've gained a lot of knowledge. I hope the audience has as well. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Trey, for having me and giving me the opportunity to talk and reach out to our students.
Yes. All right, that wraps up this week's episode of Midday with Trey. I hope you enjoyed it, and please follow all of our social media pages. We have this nice little image here for you, so you can follow all of our YouTube page, our Instagram page, and our Facebook page for behind-the-scenes content and much more. But until next week, I'm going to see you guys later. Bye. But yeah, that's it.